Hi, and welcome to Time with Natalie. And on this week's show, I'm super excited to introduce you to a lady who's dedicated her life to moving the masses from debt management to money mastery. She's fondly known as the Money Maven and is featured each week on the Steve Harvey radio show. And she's the author of Real Money Answers for Every Woman. A big welcome to Patrice Washington. Hi, Patrice.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I first heard you speak at Steve Harvey's SOAR Academy at the end of last year, and I was just blown away by you and your message, and your heart to want to serve and help, especially women with regards to money. So, my first question
hmm
is I just want to give a brief outline to the audience, or if you could give a brief outline of just who you are and why money? Why was it that you wanted to kind of touch on the money topic?
Right. Well, it's always said that the thing that has probably caused you the most pain ends up being what your purpose is supposed to be aligned with, right? So
Yeah.
I had a lot of issues with money, which is why I'm not only passionate about financial education, but I'm compassionate because of my own story. So, like you said, I am known as the Money Maven. And, beyond my role on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, um, I do a lot with personal finance, everything from writing for different outlets, several hundred articles for Black Enterprise, Huffington Post, and being featured in stuff like Success Magazine, all over, the television stations here, a lot of local and national television shows here. People see me and they think that I've always been the money maven,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that I shared at the soul retreat with you all is that, that came at a price. That came because of my own pain and things that I've been through. And so at 19 years old, I started in the real estate industry as a sophomore in college.
Mm-hmm.
And by 21, loved it, just absolutely loved it. And by 21, became a real estate and mortgage broker during my senior year in college. And so
Mm-hmm.
from that point, I built up a really great, successful business in Southern California. And by 25, it was a seven-figure business. And I wish the story ended there, Natalie, and that would have been great to jump from that seven-figure business to being the money maven. But, life happens, and that's not what happened. We had the bubble burst, the real estate market crashed here in the U.S., and I lost everything when it crashed. I did have quite a bit of savings, but I exhausted the savings trying to float my business and take care of my employees. And, I had several pieces of real estate property, and a lot of the tenants were losing their jobs as well, and I didn't have the heart to just put people out immediately. So I let them stay an additional 30, 60, some of them 90 days while I floated the mortgages. And long
Mm-hmm.
story short, it probably wasn't the wisest thing to do, but I exhausted my savings. And before I knew it, I went from this seven-figure business to scraping up change to literally feed my baby girl, feed my daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
found myself living on my brother's couch after having lived in beautiful homes and driving matching Range Rovers with my husband. I found myself living on my brother's couch and
Wow.
and having to start over from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at that time in 2009, as I was beginning to rebuild, um, that I realized, one, I found a scripture in the Bible, Proverbs 17:16, and it said, "What good is money in the hands of a fool if they have no desire to seek wisdom?" And I had read that before, but it didn't really hit home the way it did in that moment, and it
Mm-hmm.
slapped me in my face, and I felt like as much money as I've made, as many accomplishments as I've had, I've been a fool because I've been chasing money this whole time, but I haven't been seeking wisdom. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been asking for help. I haven't been investing in coaching, investing in mentorship, still going to conferences like I used to and just, absorbing every piece of education I can. I got caught up in living this lifestyle and thinking that it would never end.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made a pact with myself, and I always say with God as well. I said, as I rebuild and as I come back, because I lost all my money, but my mind isn't bad. So I know what I can do to get back, right? I know I can figure something out. But I
Yeah.
said, as I do that, I want to take everyone with me who's willing to listen. And I want to show people that chasing money, while you might make some, you won't maintain it if you don't also chase wisdom with the same
Mm.
with the same passion and enthusiasm. And so for the last several years now, I've been rebuilding my life. I have a great, multiple six-figure business again that I love. And my
Mhm.
mission is not that it wouldn't be great, but my mission every day is not to, how can I make this a seven-figure business? It's how can I impact more people, more women in particular, and
Mhm.
help them understand that this is a mindset game and that building wealth has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with your mindset. And so that's what I do every day.
Yeah, and it's interesting that point you just made, and also your story, because I also suffered with the crash 2007 8 myself, because I was also involved in property. So I own 8 houses,
Mm-hmm.
and it was such a trying time for me when that happened. So I totally can relate to
Yeah.
you as you're telling that story. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it so sounds like my life and my story, and I can only thank God for the fact that I've still managed to hold on to the eight, only by His grace and mercy. So I totally can understand, when you're sharing your story, specifically talking about the properties and things. I can really relate to that. And when you just said about, I know in your
Yeah.
in your book it says that, you say building wealth has 100% nothing to do with money. It has 100% everything to do with you and your mindset towards money. So what exactly do you mean by that? Can you just elaborate on that a little bit for me?
Yeah. I go all over the place talking to people about financial education and financial literacy. And for years, I would hear from people, well, when I get a new job,
Hmm.
everything will just work out. Or when I get a promotion or a raise, it'll all be fine. I'll figure it out. Or when I, either get a new husband, when I get married or get a new husband, or for some people, it's when I get rid of the husband I have, or whatever. And I'm not dogging the guys. I'm just telling you this is what I hear from women,
Yeah.
right? It's always something external. Like people always think it's something outside of themselves. That
Mm.
it's always this waiting game. When this happens, or when that happens, or when this person comes along. And so, also it's still the beginning of the year. People are like, well, I want to get my finances in order, so let me print down a budget, or let me print down my credit report, or they go and look at all this external stuff, but we don't have any conversations with ourselves about ourselves, because at
Mm.
the end of the day, um, it's your mindset, it's your beliefs, it's your thoughts that dictate your actions, and your actions are what give you the results that you have. And if it's constantly a conversation about something outside of yourself, how do you ever regain power? How do you ever step into your power to change the circumstances that you have? So I really say that to share with people that there are some unsupported thoughts or beliefs that you might have about money
Mm-hmm.
that you don't realize are dictating your actions and causing you to have the results that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So examples of that, and I talk a lot about different things in the book, but you know, an example of that would be the often misquoted scripture, money is the root of all evil.
Evil.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's truly, the scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil. But let's just say you believe that money is the root of all evil, or, more money, more problems, is one
Mm-hmm.
that I always hear people say.
Mm-hmm.
If you truly believe that more money will lead to more problems, in your subconscious, you find ways to get rid of money.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
find you like because you want to prove yourself right. So you're gonna find a way to get rid of money, or you're gonna always give money away, even when you're not in a position to do it, because of course you don't want to be seen as evil. You want to be seen as a good person. So a
Yeah.
good person gives, but sometimes you give to your own deprivation, and you're giving to other people, and you can't even handle your own bill. So wait a minute.
Yeah.
You you got to take care of yourself first, and not just your present self, but you have to prepare to take care of your future self.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so your mindset about those things has to understand that money is just a tool and a resource in order for you to live how you want to live, do what you want to do, and be a blessing to those when you can be a blessing. But it's not to be seen as a burden. And unfortunately, because of all the cute little sayings that are out here, and the misquoted scriptures, a lot of us carry around the wrong perspective about money, and it keeps us trapped in the same cycle.
That's so true. That is so true. And one of the themes that I've been given for this year is I am bold, brave, and beautiful. And I know that
Mm.
and I know that I've been given that in a number of different areas, but specifically money. And so I'm wondering why do women have to be more bold and brave when it comes to their money specifically?
I think for us specifically, Natalie, the statistics don't always look great for us. And we have
Mm,
to um, not harp on the past or not be stuck on the past, but be real and be realistic about what the possibilities are for us if we're not prepared. And the statistics say that nearly 60% of women will go into retirement alone. So
mm,
we have to
mm,
imagine ourselves at 65 years old. Maybe it's due to a divorce or separation. It might
mm-hmm.
be due to us choosing to be single. It might be due to us, unfortunately, losing a spouse or a partner to death, or maybe a grave disability, right? And
Yeah.
so that means that we're going to be at a point to where we'll have to fend for ourselves. Now, if the average woman lives to be, they say, nearly 90 years old, you're talking 25 or 30 years of you possibly in retirement, hopefully in retirement, because I hate to see 80-year-olds working. I mean,
Yeah.
volunteering and doing something fun is one thing, but I don't want to see you being a greeter at Walmart. Like, I don't want to see another 80-year-old woman who has spent her whole life working hard and taking care of others. I don't think in her last golden years that she should be doing that,
Yeah.
just to make ends meet. And so the reality is, if we are going to be alone, and then even for those that are widowed, another thing is that, you know, unfortunately, our men are not always the best with money, or they don't have everything in order at their demise, like we think that they should, or we think that they do.
Mm.
And I think that that's the worst thing, to live your life for 10, 20, 30 years thinking that everything is okay. And not only will you be grieving at some point, you'll also have to deal with the fact that the money is not in order.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not okay. It's too much. It could take anyone out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it could bring down the spirits of anyone. And so, with that being said, I'm always encouraging women to stand up and take charge. I'm not saying that you have to actively manage the money, but you have to be actively engaged in what's going on with your livelihood, with
Yeah.
how where you're going to be 30, 40, 50 years from now. You have to think about it, because if you don't think, it's going to come no matter what. So
Yeah.
whether it's voluntarily or involuntarily, every day we're getting one day closer to retirement, and we're just getting one day older. And so it's happening whether we want it to or not. And it's only right for us to prepare ourselves. And I think it's unfair to leave our loved ones, our children, anyone who's depending on us in a pinch and in a crunch because we haven't prepared when we could have.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. I've always been the kind of person who has been quite kind of fiercely independent when it comes to money. And like I mentioned before, owning the houses, and, I've done everything on my own, and things like that. But also, you mentioned in the book, you touched on a subject of financially helping family and friends. And I felt really convicted actually in when I was reading through some of that chapter, because I have to admit that for a while I was the person receiving the help in my time of need. But when I read
Mm-hmm.
what you said, about receiving help from family members, it really made me think that it was time for me to stand on my own 2 feet, and to know that, no matter what situation I'm in, that I am able to get myself out of it. So why is it important to empower and not enable somebody So for a short amount of time, you can
Hmm.
help them, but not to keep that going for like years and years and years. Why is that so important?
Exactly. It's so important because, I mean, we were in the same boat, right?
Hmm.
So I'm not going to act like I didn't receive help. I've already said that I slept on my brother's couch for 3 months. That was rent free. So, I took up real estate in his condo in Atlanta with my child rent free. So, but I think that there's a total difference between when someone who's ordinarily responsible has a hard time, has something happen. In our lives, I have a godmother who I love very dearly, who basically helped raise me, who ended up getting cancer in 3 different parts of the body.
Oh no.
And it was a blessing to be able to help her out during that season. She didn't ask. She didn't ask for anything, but I was glad that I had the money in place to be able to offer assistance to
Hmm.
someone who truly needed it. But
Yeah.
in order to say yes to her in her moment of need, that means there's a lot of times where I'd have to say no to cousins and friends and people who were just being reckless. And
Mm.
they were being reckless and they wanted their lack of planning to be my emergency. And I said no. And it's not easy to say no, but it's necessary because had I said yes to my cousin who wanted a couple $1,000 for a new car because her kids, quote unquote, needed to get to school, or had
Mm.
I said yes to another family member who's always starting a business and dropping it and not following through, but they wanted a couple $1,000 loan. And, had I said yes to them, I would have had to watch my godmother suffer in her time of need.
Hmm.
And that's how I look at it. There are people who go through things, go through extreme circumstances, and I do believe that when we have our finances in order and we're in a place to give and help out, that is absolutely what we should do. But there are people that are in your life who just don't want to get it together. And
Yeah.
they're just used to everyone taking care of them. And they're used to being enabled. And I believe that, as I say in the book, each one of us is born with a gift, a talent, a skill, something that we have that God gave us freely to produce wealth. And when you stand in the way of people being able to tap into that, you're not only
Mm.
hurting them, you're hurting yourself. Like you're hurting yourself in the process. And the reality is sometimes to help people, you have to stop helping. You have to stop saving them. You have to stop jumping in and being the rescue. And they have to learn to participate in their own rescue.
Mm.
And that's what I believe.
Yeah, yeah, I also agree. And coming from both sides of it, where I've helped people before, and in my time of need, I believe I'm being helped because I've helped people before, if you know what I mean. So it's like I've sown seeds into
Absolutely.
others. So in my time of need, when the crash came and I had all these houses and all this pressure from the banks and everything, then God sent me an angel to help rescue me. But now, as I was reading
Mm-hmm.
that chapter in the book, I started to really get convicted because it was like God saying to me, okay, enough's enough now. This has been going on for too
Mm.
long. You're smart enough, you're clever enough, and you touched on just now about your gifts and your talents, and so my favorite part of the book was the earn more money section, and which
Oh,
also,
good.
yeah, which was really interesting for me because it also fits nicely with your I will earn more movement that you're currently doing at the moment. And
Mm-hmm.
this is my biggest challenge, to be honest with you, as I don't do things for money, but I'm starting to realize that I have to start recognizing my value and earning more. So I wanted to ask you, can you share more about your movement? Because I am following it and I am a part of it and I think it's fantastic. And how being bold, brave, and beautiful means knowing your value and knowing your worth and knowing your gift that we all have special gifts, and it's about using those gifts, tapping into those and using those. So can you just elaborate a little bit more on that area for me?
Yeah, I think as women in particular, we are nurturers, we are givers, and so when we have a talent or a gift, a skill, whatever it is, we don't mind sharing. We share by nature, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
someone says that they need, I'm sure, a host for an event, you're probably like, oh, I can do that because I love it, because I'm good at it. That's my sweet spot. That's fine. The problem comes in though, Natalie, when you have responsibilities to take care of and you're continuously doing those things for free. Because I believe, so obviously I'm a believer. So, I believe in Deuteronomy, the Old Testament of the Bible says, God gives you the ability to produce wealth. And I think that's my interpretation, that when the Bible talks about giving us the ability, that comes in the form of our God-given gifts. Like the things that come to us naturally, the things that come to us freely, that we can do better than anyone else around us with the least amount of effort. I truly believe that when it says that God gives you the ability to produce wealth, that's what he means. I gave you the skill, I gave you the talent, I gave you the voice, I gave you the hands, I gave you, the legs, track star. I gave you the mind, the creativity, the ability to retain information that other people cannot necessarily retain as well. I gave that to you so that you could use it. And a lot of us do one of two things. Either we don't use it at all and we let it lay dormant and we keep it a secret. And no one knows that we're a good singer except for our mama. And, no one knows that we are like the best cook ever except for our roommate. No one knows anything about us, but that's the thing we're supposed to use. So either we don't use it at all and it lays dormant, or only one or two people know, or we use it, but we continuously give it away because, back to the myths and the lies that we tell ourselves that keep us where we are, well, I'm just a giving person.
Yeah.
It's fine to be a giving person. I'm a giving person. I don't think that anyone who has ever interacted with me or come in to my circle, to my world, would say anything different. The entire Earn More Money movement is totally free. There's several thousand women taking it. I mean, if I could have charged $1, that would have been $7,000, But it's totally free, because this is, as I said in the beginning, my whole mission is about how to get people to chase wisdom. So in that movement at IWillEarnMore.com, I'm sharing wisdom. I'm sharing principles and lessons and nuggets of wisdom that people have instilled in me, or things that I've had to learn on my own that have helped me become successful. Like, I'm sharing wisdom. It's totally free. Now, if you want to work with me one-on-one, that comes at a price, because my time is valuable. And I've invested a lot in coaches and mentors and programs and books and seminars and webinars, and I've invested a lot in my education. So if you want me to help you one-on-one and help you develop your business, or perfect your branding, or do any of those things, then you have to pay. I have to be paid for that. So there's levels to the giving that you do. I give a lot for free. I probably sometimes give more than some of my counterparts would ever give for free. That's what the blog posts are for. That's what the articles are for. That's what the periscopes are for. That's what the nuggets of wisdom on Instagram are for. That's what the movement is for. All those things are free ways that I can pour into people who may never, want to invest with me or have an opportunity to invest in working with me. And that's fine. The small group of people who want to and who can afford to, then I have to charge for that. Because I have a responsibility to my daughter. I have a responsibility to hopefully one day send her to college, if that's what she chooses, completely debt-free. Or if she chooses to start a business, give her that little bump to help her get the foundation down. I have a responsibility to do that. I have a responsibility to continue to be a good steward at my church and give and tithe, to the extent that I can, I have a responsibility to pay my bills on time every month. I have a responsibility to keep a roof over my head and gas in my vehicle. I have responsibilities, and those responsibilities cost money. It takes money to do it. I have a responsibility to my future self. I don't want to be a bagger at Walmart at 85 years old. So I have a responsibility to fund the daily expenses of my 85-year-old self. I'm 35. I'll be 35 next month. I have a responsibility to think ahead 50 years and plan for that. I have a responsibility to do that, and I cannot fulfill that and do that using the gifts that God gave me freely to produce wealth and giving them away for free. And
Yeah.
I believe that for a lot of us, I would venture to say, now I haven't talked to the Lord about this, but I'm going to venture to say that I think that the Lord will be disappointed in you when He gives you a gift and you don't use it.
It's so
We've all
funny.
given
Yeah,
our, yeah,
I agree. I
I,
totally, that's how I feel. I feel exactly the same. I feel like sometimes God is disappointed because, there are opportunities around us all the time. There are opportunities for us to make money or to help somebody or to open a door into the next level of where we need to be. And when we don't take them, I'm the same. I feel like sometimes He sits there and thinks, oh, why did she not, do that?
exactly. Exactly. It's, I truly believe that. I truly believe that, in the parable of the talents, from the Bible, that no one was pleased with the dude that buried all his talents and thought that he had done a good job.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
so it's the same thing with us. When we bury our talents, when we hide from our talents, when we don't utilize our talents in our daily lives, um, that's a problem. And so that is why I created the entire section on Earn More Money. Real Money Answers for Every Woman is different than a lot of personal finance books for that reason.
Mm.
Because when you look at most personal finance books, they're going to talk about retirement, they're going to talk about savings, they're going to talk about credit and budgeting, and all those things are wonderful. But a key ingredient to being able to do those things is earning enough money to do it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to leave out because the other thing is from coaching and counseling hundreds of women at one point in my career, I can tell you that when people are not fulfilled in what they do every day, they tend to
Mm.
mismanage money more than anyone.
Mm.
When you're not fulfilled in your job, when you're disgruntled about your boss all the time, and when you're upset about what's going on in the workplace, and you really secretly want to cook and be a chef, but you're driving a bus and you're irritated, and
Mm.
when you're complaining and whining and you're frustrated, all of that repels money. It
Mm.
repels money, and what it forces you to do all the time is try to fill the void. And most of us fill the void with stuff. We fill the void with shopping, with shoes, with purses, with dresses, with going to concerts. We're looking for ways to make ourselves feel better, and the reality is we don't, because we're not in alignment with our gift,
Yeah.
and it just becomes a cycle.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I thoroughly, I can thoroughly recommend the book. I really enjoyed it. There were so many pieces of wisdom for me. I've highlighted so many pages in that book. It's incredible. And I really felt like it spoke to me, honestly, in so many different ways. It was like God speaking to me directly.
Makes me so happy.
Yeah, really. And I wouldn't just say that because money is a key issue for me, and I know He's trying to get me up to the next level. So I really just want to thank you so much for writing the book. And thank you so much. Also, the Earn More Money movement and everything is fabulous as well. So, can you just share the links to the website, so where people can get the book and how they can join the movement, and your website as well? So that I'll also post all the details. But if you could share that, that would be great.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, please keep in touch with me via social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook at Seek Wisdom TCW. And I'm always dropping little nuggets and sharing yummy stuff with you. So please connect with me there. And you can see more about the book and what I do on realmoneyanswers.com. That's realmoneyanswers.com. And for more information about the Earn More Money movement, to join the movement, to take the pledge, to utilize your God-given gifts to earn more and really absorb these 25 principles that are delivered to your email box every day once you sign up, go to iwillearnmore.com. That's iwillearnmore.com.
Fabulous. Well, Patrice, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much again for your words of wisdom. I'm sure that the audience has gained a lot from it. And again, I just want to reiterate: make sure you check Patrice out. She is fabulous. She's real, and that's what I love about her. She's so real. She tells it as it is, and she really cares about your financial situation. So, Patrice, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Natalie, anytime. And I hope to see you again when you come back over to the U.S.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be there at the Act Like a Success and the SOAR retreat. And you have
Oh,
to come.
good.
Yeah, I'll be there. And you have to come on over to London also. Come and speak and share your
I
words of
I
wisdom over in
want
London.
to.
Yeah. Let's make
I
that
would
happen.
love to. We have to make that happen.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Fabulous.
Thanks, Natalie. I'll see you at Act Like a Success.
Okay, okay. You take care.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye.